I can do with mine, too.
It's some of the other voices that scare me, but I digress quickly.
Yes, quickly.
We have a stacked show tonight. In fact, the second half of this show is going to be exceptionally entertaining and I think very informative because we have 9-time Pikes Peak International Hill Climb champion Robbie Unser joining us in hour number 2.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, he used to race Indy Cars and a whole bunch of other things, too.
He's been a drifter and autocrosser. He's done all kinds of things. And
all the exotic motorsports, it seems like, which is fun.
He's doing a lot of driver training. We'll
He
talk
is.
about that, too.
We will. I'm extremely interested to hear about the hill climb because that's a discipline that I've never truthfully understood very well.
Right.
And it's something that I've always wanted to hear more about because you hear guys like Skinner and some of these other guys who have gone to the hill climb or, Goodwood or Pikes Peak, some of these hill climbs and come back and just raving about it. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that side and kind of what he finds that makes that so much fun. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. Of course, we have the paperclip. You know what? I didn't think this through very well. I should have had you get a paperclip from your office that I could have held up before the start of the show just because.
Because you just desperately wanted a prop?
I wanted a prop. We'll talk about the paperclip, the non-existent one that I'm holding in my hand.
Imagine he's holding a paperclip.
Exactly. Also,
that would be Martinsville.
Yes. Also, I was going to say,
know.
also known as we're going to Martinsville this weekend, and I'm going to eat some hot dogs, which always makes me excited. Tom's not crazy about the hot dogs, but.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't crazy about the hot dogs. I just don't happen to think that Martinsville's hot dogs are that much different than any other hot dogs.
You just made a lot of Virginians mad.
I know, but
we'll
I have to be honest.
Yeah. So we'll talk NASCAR. We'll talk Indy Car. We got a whole bunch of things to get to. But right now, we're going to get off to our first break of the night. So when we come back, Motorsports Madness powered by mycomputercareer.edu continues. I'll get it right eventually.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
This is Anthony Alfredo, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Okay, that's way too catchy not to drum or something, too. Just saying. Hence why I was doing
drum
it.
or something?
Drum or something.
I see, okay. Well, go ahead and drummer.
I
to the
did
show.
drummer, yes.
You were
Welcome
drumming.
back to Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. I said it right that time. Ha!
Yes, you did. Training for a better life.
Yes.
We'll tell you more about that later.
Yes, we will. And I'm going to try and not flinch and let my life flash before my eyes because Murdoch is giving me paper clips.
Courtesy of
Box of
Staples.
Martinsville's.
Apropos.
The box says Staples, but
Yes.
it's actually paper clips.
Yes. It's
really confusing.
Yes. There is the paper clip
Yeah,
that I
that's
wanted during the
Martinsville.
first segment. This is
also
a mini Martinsville.
Spencer Speedway up in western New York.
Yes.
Courtesy of Rod Wortham's desk.
Thanks, Rod.
Yeah, Rod doesn't have any Staples paper clips on his desk anymore.
Oh, well.
We'll put them back later.
He's going to be looking for those later, and somebody's going to get in trouble.
But he's not here, so
Yeah,
by
Ray-
the
that's
time
true.
Race Face Rod is not here, so.
So by the time he's looking for them, they'll be back. So
Yeah.
we'll be okay. Anyway, let's talk Martinsville.
Yeah, please.
now that I have my paperclip prop.
The audience will be worried about us.
Yeah, no
or
kidding.
at least you.
I always worry about me. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. So anyway, this is going to be fun. Problem.
Always.
Yeah, black flag in the Cup Series. Yes, we're not
Black
even 2
flag?
minutes into this segment. Black flag
How
on the
can you
Cup
have a black
Series.
flag before we even get there?
Because there's only the charter cars on the entry list. That's why. 36 cars for Martinsville. That's a travesty.
Wow.
Yep. I told you I had a black flag, and that's a very black
I
flag.
don't know if I want to go black flag, but that's a shock.
Oh, yeah. Now, in stark contrast, there are 39 Gander Outdoors trucks on the preliminary
I'm
entry
actually
list.
surprised there's not mid-40s.
There were 41 until 2 trucks withdrew. Those 2 trucks, by the way, were the 87 of Joe Nemechek and the 80, which was TBA, but I have to believe would have been Jacob Wallace because Jacob Wallace Racing. And Jacob Jacob Wallace was on the entry list at Daytona.
Unless somebody
Atlanta,
was
one of
supposed
them.
to pay for the ride in the Jacob Wallace Racing truck, and the
I
check
don't
didn't
think
come
so
through.
because Jacob was on the entry list at Atlanta and DNQ'd, so Daytona or Atlanta, one of the two. Anyway,
But there is a Wallace in the truck race, though.
Yes, that's beside the point. There is a Wallace in the truck race, and it's a Wallace by the name of Bubba.
Bubba is running a truck race. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be interesting to watch for me.
So, backstory behind this, real quick, is that AM Racing, which is Tim Self, which normally the 22 is driven by Austin Wayne Self.
Who is Tim's son.
Yes.
We should point out.
Austin Wayne is not driving this weekend because Bubba is driving. They went and got another Chevy driver to help evaluate their program and fix the things that are wrong. You know why I believe they can fix the things that are wrong this weekend? Because that team picked up a great crew chief during the offseason, and I know that Eddie Traconis, who was with Ben Rhodes last year.
That's where he went.
Yep. I don't believe Eddie Traconis will stand for that truck not being up front for too long. And I believe Eddie Traconis and Bubba Wallace are going to be the combo to watch this weekend. Bubba said on Twitter yesterday that he believes they can go chase a clock. And I believe they can go chase a clock.
Yeah, I don't think, and again, I don't want to make this a statement about Austin Self as a racer. I just think that the potential is there for that truck to be running up in the front.
Absolutely.
Where it should be. And it's Martinsville.
You're right.
So it's a short track. And Bubba's won there, and he loves
Twice,
racing
as a matter
there.
of fact.
So
2 clocks.
Yeah.
So all of that said, I look down this entry list and I love it. There are so many fun surprises, including somehow that Josh Rayum believes, and I believe this has to be a typo, but somehow that Josh Rayum believes that Daniel Sasnick can drive both the 33 truck and the 34 truck at the same time.
He's really, really good. He's really good.
That's talent.
Yeah, that's a special talent.
The original preliminary entry list had Sasnet in both the 33 and the 34. The 34 is now marked as officially withdrawn, so that leaves us with 38 trucks and only one Daniel Sasnett to worry about instead of two.
Okay, so here's the question of the day. Who is Daniel Sasnett?
I will look that. All I know is he's from Florida, and he tried to make a truck race last year, and I can't remember if he actually made one or not. But long story short is he's from the Sunshine State. That's literally the only thing I know about him right now. During the next break, we'll alleviate that problem. Anyway, as you're looking down the entry list, there's a lot of fun things here. Austin Dillon is driving for Nemco.
Oh?
Uh-huh.
In the 8 or
8.
the okay.
I just said the 87 is withdrawn.
Well, that's why I asked you.
Yes.
So they were using the 8 as the
8 has always been the primary truck because that was the truck that John Hunter drove.
All right.
That's the truck that has points. So Austin Dillon, or 83, is going to be 88 for
88.
this weekend.
Yeah.
And not 88, just 88.
Yes.
Oh, this is fun.
Quiz on this later.
Yeah, quiz on this later.
Headache.
You think you've got a headache now, just wait. Good grief. Corey Roper's coming back to the site of his breakout performance last year when he finished on the lead lap in 13th at Martinsville.
Corey's another one that could actually surprise us this weekend.
Absolutely.
He's got a fleet full of really good trucks.
Really good truck.
He's
DKR
actually
trucks.
done his job well this year so far.
Indeed.
He's just finishing races as much as he can. He's had one or two that he's dropped out of just with different issues, but he's finished well when he's finished, and he's learning. He's not doing silly things, which is great.
Myatt Snyder's back in the 5th ThorSport truck this weekend with Slayer of Taxes on board.
Yeah. Tax Slayer, for those of you who are not good at interpreting Jacob speak.
No, Myatt's not. Myatt, he said on social media when the sponsor deal was announced, "You may now call me Myatt, Slayer of Taxes." Ankrum, you've got Tyler Ankrum back at Martinsville, where he ran really well last year. Derek Kraus, I think, is going to be a factor in the Bill McAnally truck, the 19 truck with Ineos on board. Reed Wilson taking over for Timothy Peters in the 2nd Nice Motorsports truck, making his debut for 2019. And I love that Ross Chastain keeps finishing well in the Nice truck and keeps hanging around. I don't want to call him, I don't want to say hanging around like a sore thumb, because I would never get tired of Ross. But
well, this is what Ross does.
Yes.
And the thing about this situation is this is where Reed Wilson is going to find out. We're going to see what Reed can really do.
Yes.
He's going to have, I think, 8 or 9 races this year in that 44 truck. It's as good of equipment. It's way better equipment, actually, than he's ever had.
He's driven, yeah.
So and he's got Ross Chastain as a tutor. So, you're either going to get it or get out of it, one or the other.
That's right.
You got nothing holding you back now. The equipment's there. That's a GMS affiliated organization now, so he'll have top 10. He'll have a top 10 truck or better going into the weekend.
David Gilliland is reprising the Fred's sponsorship from Daytona in the 54 truck this weekend, which Natalie Decker was going to drive if not for the W Series final round of cuts this weekend.
Conflicts.
Hey, it's a good conflict.
It is.
I'm purposely overlooking the guy who's going to win the race because, well, he's going to win the race, so I don't even know why we would need to talk about him. I will talk about one of his drivers, though, because I'm excited about Rafael Lassard making his debut for KBM this weekend, and I believe he will be the surprise of the weekend. Why, you ask? Because his crew chief is one of the best in the business when it comes to the truck series. You want a blast from the past? How about 2012 NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series championship-winning crew chief Mike Shelton, who guided James Buescher to the title at Turner Scott Motorsports 7 years ago.
Oh.
Now that is a combination that I believe is going to surprise some people, and that's the kind of experience in a situation like Rafi's that you're going to need to be successful this weekend.
Well, a success for him is finishing the race with all the wheels and fenders on it, and maybe a top 10. I don't see him challenging for the win. We'll see.
I've seen stranger things
happen. I don't
happen.
believe Kyle's a lock to win.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Anyway, all that said, we're off to a break. We'll be back with more Motorsports Madness powered by My Computer Career in just a moment.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, Indy Car, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver of the number nothing Chevrolet for JD Motorsports, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
I didn't time that well because I forgot Xfinity's off this weekend. However, I do know that Garrett Smithley said Tuesday night he's going to be doing a lot of iRacing this weekend.
Really?
Yes, and I will throw him a plug because he finished second in the Gander Outdoors Pro Invitational that the Truck Series put together along with iRacing that was held at Martinsville Speedway on Tuesday night.
Nice.
And, oh, by the way, a Truck Series driver won it.
Oh, really?
Christian Eckes.
Oh,
to victory
well,
lane in that
cool.
one.
Very nice.
He's going to be running in October at Martinsville, so he called it a good tune-up.
There you go.
There's your sim racing plug for the week. But it was fun. Garrett's like, I don't do this enough anymore. Yeah, because you're kind of busy, Garrett. Just saying. Oh, well. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. That's twice now I've stumbled on that.
Main sponsor tonight.
No, I think it's my tongue having trouble connecting with my brain properly is what it is. I've been stumbling over my words all day today. I don't know why. It's not like I'm drunk.
Maybe you should be. Maybe that's the problem.
I mean,
no.
The evidence is there. I'm just saying.
People that know me know that I don't drink, so we'll move on.
Trisha East is in our chat. Want to say hi to Trisha, and her son Joey actually had a great run for his first time ever in a super late model at Madeira Speedway this weekend. Finished third. Great job, Joey East. Young driver out of California that is really going to make a mark this year.
That's one of the tracks that I just want to get to one of these days, but traveling to California is expensive.
Yes, it is. Anything in California is expensive.
You're right.
Saying California is expensive.
You're right about that too.
Say it. You can't even say simple words.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, let's not. Let's move on. Hang on. Actually, before we talk about the Cup Series, I want to talk about one more thing that is interesting to me. I want to see, and I think this is going to be a storyline to watch over the course of the weekend. Who does better this weekend in their return to Martinsville with a new team? Johnny Sauter with ThorSport or Brett Moffitt with GMS? And I believe it's going to be Sauter all day because as I said to somebody during the break here, the only way Kyle Busch loses this race is if Johnny Sauter's close enough to knock him out of the way to do it.
See, I don't want to say that. I'm not ready to give this race to Kyle. It's a short track. Anything can happen on a short track. The advantage that Kyle has with his experience is still there. But on a short track, you can make up for a lot of that, especially, how do I put this, if you have a lot of fortitude. And the Truck Series is full of racers of all ages who have a lot of fortitude. Don't be surprised.
I believe the word you're looking for is cojones.
Well, I was trying to,
You can say that word.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
He's got cojones down. Kyle, look, I just think there are a number of drivers who, if they're close enough to Kyle Busch coming down to the checkers, I think somebody's going to make that truck get a little sideways.
I will remind you that last fall, Johnny Sauter won this race by 4.57 seconds and led 148 of 200 laps.
You and your stats again. That's fine. And if that happens and there's that few cautions that can happen, great. But I'm just not going to give this one to Kyle yet.
We only had,
not saying he won't win, just saying I don't think it's a lock.
We had 6 cautions in a 200-lap race, and Johnny still won by 4.5 seconds, if that tells you how good his truck was.
Let's put Ben Rhodes on Kyle's bumper with 2 laps to go and see what happens.
Yeah, Ben's another. If the truck is there, Ben will do something with it.
Absolutely.
I just wonder.
And old Bubba would be the same way.
Yeah, I just wonder. Well, Bubba would do it because Kyle used to, own his truck once upon a time. So anyway, now let's go to the Cup Series for a couple of minutes because, well, we don't have to talk about drivers being in different places because they're all in the same place. It's only the charter cars. But
That's amazing.
The interesting discussion here is everybody's been asking what this is going to look like, and I think Ryan Preece answered it perfectly on his teleconference Tuesday afternoon. It's going to look like any other short track race in America. You give them 750 horsepower and tell them to go on a half-mile racetrack. The modifieds only have 450 to 500 horsepower, and they still beat and bang, when they would used to go to Martinsville. Oh, by the way, Ryan Preece got his first modified win at Martinsville, too. Why not his first Cup win?
When did modifieds get 400 horsepower motors?
Preece said that at least when he was running Martinsville, the modifieds were making 450 to 500.
Okay. He knows more than I do, but
I know the saying
used to be that way.
I know the saying is by the grace of God and 600 horsepower.
Yeah,
but
it was easily 6 for most of the time. But anyways, regardless, well, again, it's a short track. So
yeah,
when you look at stats, when you look at anything, it's a short track. So what you hope for, honestly, is you hope for a ton of action.
Yep.
And as far as whatever this year's package is going to do, throw it out. It's Martinsville.
It
doesn't matter what you're running at Martinsville.
So here's the real question, guys. We've been saying it for 5 weeks. I feel like now we're at Martinsville, so at least there's a tiny bit of credence to actually say it. Can this be the week that Jimmy Johnson finally looks like Jimmy Johnson again?
Yes. I said it on Monday night. I'll say it again on this show. Jimmy Johnson is going to clock the field.
I don't know that he's going to clock the field, but I won't be surprised if he wins.
Well, he gets a clock if he wins. He's clocking the field.
Huh. He won't dominate.
If I have to explain him, then we need to just move on.
I know that much. He's not going to dominate.
Well, look, I don't think anybody will dominate. I just think this series this year has seen too many different faces running up toward the front, and a lot of faces that you would have thought would have been there have not started off well. This is a race where I could see Ryan Newman being a factor. I could see Ricky Stenhouse being a factor. I know that's going to get a reaction from a lot of people. I didn't say how he would be a factor. I'm just saying I could see him being a factor.
Yeah.
And you can't count out guys like Hemrick certainly. And you can't count out guys like Denny Hamlin and the guys that.
Why would you count out Denny Hamlin? He's got 5
That's what I'm saying. So this is a track where a lot of things can happen. I mean, you can get taken out in a wreck. You can get a lap down early. You can speed on pit road, and so there's a lot of different things that can happen here that really could change the nature of this race. But I definitely believe Jimmy Johnson has a shot to win, and I'm picking him to win because he's been just good enough that, again, go back to a short track, put his experience in play, and I think he's got just enough that he could be a factor. And I think Chase Elliott out of that stable as well.
Oh, easily. Chase Elliott is owed a Cup Series win at Martinsville. I think that's coming without question. Now, when I look at this, there's a couple of other people that jump to mind for me. Also, before I go around the table, I want to offer this needs to be a special award for the weekend.
Okay.
Most creative sponsor. This needs to be a special award because I have the winner.
You do?
The number 10 Ford Mustang for Eric Almirola is sponsored this weekend by Shazam.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not joking. It literally, on the entry list, in all capital letters, says Shazam with an exclamation point.
And that's the whole cartoon thing, not Gomer Pyle doing Shazam. Just to clarify.
Yes.
It's not a tribute to Jim Neighbors.
No, it's not.
But that would be nice.
God bless Jim Neighbors.
So Smithfield, it's Shazam is bacon. That's what I say every time I'm going to eat bacon. Shazam! So,
Yes.
It fits.
It does. Kevin Harvick's back in black this weekend, too, by the way. The black Mobil 1 scheme's making its debut.
I love that scheme. That's one of my favorite Harvick schemes.
Yeah, it is. You've got SiriusXM on Truex's car this weekend. As Truex said, all SiriusXM schemes look good. He's got to get serious. He got bumped out of the way for a win in the last corner in the fall.
He did.
He's coming back. He's coming back with a vengeance.
We're on SiriusXM too.
We are.
Yes. Saturday nights at 7.
So technically, Truex, we're sponsoring Truex's car.
Exactly. It's all about us. Yeah, all about us. Dan Patrick Show, Channel 211 on Saturday nights at 7 Eastern on Sirius.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'll throw an off-the-wall potential contender for you. We'll go around the table, too.
Off the wall?
Yes.
That would be Kyle Larson most races.
Well, I'm going to ask you which one of these two drivers has a better shot at winning on Sunday, and one of them is Kyle Larson. The other one is the inverse of his car number, William Byron.
Okay.
You start.
We're going around the table. I start. Kyle Larson, I think, has a better chance to win if he can stay off the wall. But I think this is, again, he's good on short tracks, and I think this plays to his strengths.
Indeed. And Randy.
Well, neither one of them's last name is Bush, so that takes both out of the question. But I'm actually going to go with Byron just because I feel like Byron's going to be less likely to bounce it off the wall than Kyle Larson. So I'll go with
That'd be a big win
Byron.
for William if he could get there.
Point for Randy. I'm breaking the tie, and I'm also going with William Byron, not because of William Byron. I'm going with William Byron has a better shot to win at Martinsville because of his crew chief. Chad Knaus already has 9 clocks, and I'm sure he would like nothing more than to get a 10th one and help give the rookie his first victory in the 24 car. So I think Chad Knaus is the difference maker, and I believe you'll see William Byron among the top 5 on Sunday afternoon.
Wouldn't you just long for an end of the race where you have Jimmy Johnson versus William Byron at Martinsville? Wouldn't you just love to see that?
You realize
Wouldn't you love to be on the radio with Chad Knaus at that point?
You realize that we already played the whole 48 versus 24 thing out a few years ago with Johnson and Gordon, and Jimmy Johnson won that drag race.
The whole, now you've broken up the marriage, so it's the whole.
Who's going to get the 10th clock
Chad
first,
Knaus,
right?
Yeah.
These are the things that get fun to talk about when we're prognosticating potential scenarios. I mean, you've got Daniel Suarez, who's driving the car that went to victory lane with Kurt Busch a few years ago. You've got Kurt Busch, who's with Ganassi and off to the best start of any of the Chevrolet drivers. Kurt's going to be fun to watch this weekend, too, because he loves Martinsville. So all that said, we're going to have more conversation coming up in just a couple of minutes. We really need to fit some IndyCar here in, and I think we'll do that in the next segment. We've also got Robbie Unser coming up, so we'll step aside and be back with more Motorsports Madness right after this.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jesse Love, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
Welcome back.
Yes. Oh, by the way, public service announcement in the camp of Jesse Love. Exactly 1 month from today, he's making his Keith Kunz Midget debut.
Yes.
At Jacksonville, Illinois.
Should be a lot of fun.
It will be a lot of fun.
Power Eye.
Which is racing as this show is broadcasting live. Oh, by the way, the opening night of the Turnpike Challenge in Oklahoma, where Christopher Bell is trying to stay undefeated in his home state.
Is there a Turnpike anywhere near the Turnpike Challenge? Is that why it's the Turnpike Challenge?
I think so, but I would have to look at a map of Oklahoma.
Because otherwise it would make little sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would have to go look at a map of Oklahoma. I'm not a geography whiz, especially. All I know is where the Expo Center is because Chili Bowl.
You just wonder where they get the names of some of these races, that's all.
Ask Kenny Brown about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep talking about racing for a bit, shall we? Martinsville.
We just were.
Yeah, we just were. Martinsville, Cup Series, Truck Series, doubleheader. Here's my question, and I want to go around the table on this one.
Okay.
Do we ever see scheduled night racing at Martinsville with the pending realignment of the schedule in the next year or two? Do we see scheduled night racing come to Martinsville? Maybe a midweek primetime show, weekend primetime, something, anything. They have the lights.
Can we, please? Yes, please. Can we pretty please? I mean,
Dear
can
Clay
you imagine?
Campbell.
Yeah, I don't think Martinsville put LED lights in for nothing. I think they've always wanted that type of a scenario. It's just been up to NASCAR to open their minds to different possibilities. Martinsville would be the perfect place for a midweek big event special that I think would be a ratings bonanza television-wise if you put it in the right situation at the right time of year. And I think the fans would love it. I think they definitely should do it. But you've got to do it at a time of year when the temperature is halfway decent.
Yeah, no, exactly. You couldn't do it right now in April or October. It's just too cold.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, this weekend's supposed to be in the 60s for high, but the problem is if you're going to do it at night, it's going to be more like 45.
Right, exactly.
So, you've got to do it in a situation where it's a little nicer weather. But, yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
Randy.
Yeah, Tom said it himself. I don't think that Martinsville would have spent that kind of money on lights if they didn't have any intention of running a night race at some point in time. It's nice to have them in case of a rain out, but, you don't spend millions of dollars on lights just to let them sit there and look pretty. Me, for one, I love Saturday night short track racing or any nighttime racing at all. So I think having them under the lights, both trucks and Cup, would be just excellent, in my opinion. So.
Indeed. I'm making it unanimous. Dear Clay Campbell, lights, night racing, do it.
And actually, if NASCAR really wanted to do this right, and you're going to do that, what you do on Saturday afternoon to entertain the fans is you bring back the modifieds.
Yes, please.
That's what you do.
Yes.
Bring a modified race back.
Yes.
I think that's
the late model race is already under the lights, which is a good start.
And they have a big race there already, so it makes sense to bring the modifieds back. I think that Saturday double with mods and trucks would be a huge draw.
Mm-hmm. Why not put a Cup race under the lights?
Well, I guess that's what I meant. I shouldn't have said trucks.
Sunday double.
Oh, right. Well, okay, that's right, because the trucks would be Saturday.
Yeah.
So you run mods and trucks on Saturday, and the Cup race, I don't know about a Sunday night deal. I think you want the midweek thing. That's where your Thursday night or Friday night would come in for the Cup Series race.
Yeah, well, no. Okay, so the rumor that I've heard in regards to the pending schedule blow-up and rebuild is if they're going to do a midweek primetime Cup race, it would be either Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and you would not have a Cup race on either of the Sundays surrounding that midweek primetime race.
Well, and I guess you could do that as well.
You would have to, because logistically you couldn't run a Wednesday night Cup race and then also do a Sunday Cup race the same weekend. That there would be no way to do the turnaround properly.
Well, I mean, you could. I mean,
the teams and NASCAR have said there would be no way feasibly.
Well, then you're not. Unfortunately, what that does is it takes us out of any possibility of a short track summer series like that, like some of us have talked about. I don't understand why you can't run a race here one day and run a race here 2 days later if in fact, or 3 days later, if in fact you keep the destinations close enough. So, for example, Martinsville, Richmond, or Martinsville, Charlotte, or Martinsville,
because there's still, if you're televising everything, it takes a minimum 24 to 36 hour period before any of the haulers ever come in to have everything set up in place for the broadcast partners, for NASCAR, for scoring, all that stuff.
Then
you have to have a minimum of 24 to 36 hours, and I know because I've spoken to some of the officials that help with setup for that.
Well,
there's like 4 days between Tuesday and Saturday, or Tuesday
that's the
and
thing.
Tuesday.
But keep in mind, if you're running a Cup race, you still have to have practice and qualifying and all the other. At best, you'd maybe be able to get, if the destinations are within a couple hours, you'd maybe, do a Wednesday, Sunday deal, but you'd still, the turnaround would be so tight to be ready to go by Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, that's disappointing to hear, because what's being said then is that we're only going to see 1 or 2 midweek short track events at best, because you have to have 2 Sundays off in order to have 1 midweek event.
Not necessarily, because there's also the possibility of, actually getting rid of some dates on the schedule and condensing the schedule a little bit.
Well, see, there again, and to me, that would make perfect sense. I would love to see less races on the Cup schedule and more midweek and nighttime events. And and more events at short tracks and road courses, because I think you need that balance. I think the audience you're trying to attract would be much more. And, Bradley Kilby is a young man who is a racer, and he's talking to me in the chat about this. And, there's a kid who's kind of representative of the audience you're trying to attract. If you're NASCAR, it's the millennials, the teenage audience, and they're all about short tracks. They're not so much about the big mile and a half. So, I think midweek shows, I think you could do a lot of different things if you really just open the mind up and stop thinking you had to run 36 Sundays out of the year.
You would think. I mean, and with that, I'm going to say let's table that discussion and we can revisit it potentially later in the show. I want to talk about some IndyCar for a little bit, shall we? I figure that's a good segue, because coming up in the second half of our show, we're going to be talking to Robbie Unser, who used to did some IndyCar racing.
Yes, he used to did.
That's how they say it down in the South.
Top finish, second twice.
Yes.
In IndyCar.
Came so close.
Yep.
However, current IndyCar, COTA.
Yeah, and this is, first of all, can we just start by saying, for those of you trying to compare IndyCar at COTA to Formula One at COTA,
stop.
Please quit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an apple and an orange.
Just like people trying to compare Kyle Busch's wins to Richard Petty's 200 wins. Stop.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
This is a comedy of errors. I need to go home and try again.
Yeah, if you haven't been drinking, you need to start. It's definitely a situation where I think the IndyCar series is going to put on, I hope they're going to put on a really, really good show at COTA. And a lot of the teams, what I'm hearing is it seems like they're excited. They feel like this could be a really, really entertaining race. And a fun race for the drivers, too. So I'm hoping it comes off that way, because honestly, for me, this is one of the two great unknowns on the IndyCar schedule this year. How's COTA going to work out? And then Sebring, there's a whole... I think those two circuits are going to be really interesting, but I'm excited to see what IndyCar does at COTA this weekend.
Oh, goodness. I think
it's a neutral track. Nobody's ever done it.
Right.
So
no, I think
who knows?
We're all very excited to see what IndyCar can do at COTA this weekend.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned earlier that Robbie Unser finished second twice in IndyCar. I just got curious and wanted to go look up to make sure where. Texas in the inaugural race, I believe, either inaugural or the second running in 98, and then the next year at Atlanta, which is a track that I so wish IndyCar would go back to, but
IndyCar needs to be on the mile and a half.
Oh.
We need to take NASCAR off some of them
and
for
put
next year
IndyCar
and
on
replace them with IndyCar shows. I think that'd be great.
Right? But IndyCar, COTA this weekend, a driver that I think needs desperately to be kept an eye on, because I think he's going to be impressive, is the driver who was fastest in preseason testing at COTA, Colton Herta.
Yeah, I mean, here again, it's an unknown. So you've got Pato O'Ward running. You got, of course, Colton running. You've got drivers who are really good on road courses, who are young, who, haven't necessarily showed everything yet in IndyCar in general, who could be surprises because it is a new track for everybody. So a driver, for example, like a Zach Veach or even a Kyle Kaiser could come in if Youngco's, if that equipment is there. I mean, this is one of those scenarios where you look at the potential for an upset winner in that race, because none of the veterans have had any more time on the track than anyone else.
Right. The veterans are certainly adaptable. But now, if you're a veteran like Will Power, who traditionally is good on road courses, here's a little breaking news that was announced earlier today. This is something that all 24 drivers have a shot at this weekend. COTA is offering a bonus of $100,000 if one driver should win the pole and the race this weekend. And who's good at winning the pole and the race on road courses? Will Power.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's going to be very interesting. I think that's a great bonus, because it encourages everybody obviously to be on top of their game in qualifying and not to sandbag or whatever. You want the pole, so it's you definitely want to make sure that you're on it. And that's, you say, well, it should be easy, shouldn't it? To if the fastest guy starts up front, he should win the race. It doesn't always work that way, especially on a new track.
Can I throw you something really crazy?
Yeah.
Because there is one driver in this weekend's IndyCar field that already has open wheel experience at Circuit of the Americas. I'll raise you a potential surprise winner. Keep an eye on the Aero Schmidt-Peterson Honda of Marcus Ericsson.
Well, that's an interesting thought. If the car has the speed, then I think Ericsson definitely could be a factor.
He ran top 10 at St. Pete, and Hinchcliffe finished 6th, so we know the car is capable.
If it's, if they can get it right, that definitely could be a possibility.
Absolutely. I believe it's going to be particularly interesting when you look down the list, and Ericsson was one of the drivers in attendance for the $100,000 press conference this afternoon. And that's just fun. You know what? I love seeing COTA step up and do something like this for the big IndyCar debut. They're a track that's really embracing IndyCar coming to the facility, and I think that's really, really great to make this a long-term event. I've heard it's a long-term, more than just a 2 or 3 year contract is what I've heard from several people within the IndyCar circle.
I hope it works out well.
I think we're all hoping it works out well because it's one of the few new tracks we've seen added to the schedule in quite some time, truly new tracks that doesn't have any prior IndyCar history. So that's going to be fun to watch. NBC Sports all weekend for the IndyCar Classic at Circuit of the Americas in Austin. With that, we are going to step aside, and when we return, we'll tie this first half of the show into a nice, neat little bow so that we can get ready to move into the second hour and talk to Robbie Unser, who we've been hinting at a few times. He's coming up in hour number 2. Right now, this business is coming at all of you, and Motorsports Madness powered by My Computer Career continues in just a moment.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Spencer Davis, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
I had to slide Spencer in there somewhere because he's got a new truck number this weekend, and I can't wait to get to Martinsville and ask him. Yes, Tom has the double one. That would be 11.
That's correct.
For those who don't know how to read that sign language. Anyway.
It's a pair of ones.
Yeah, this is Motorsports Madness. I'm Jacob Seelman. He's Tom Baker. He's also a little bit crazy, but you know,
a little.
If you haven't been around this show long enough, you'll learn. Trust me. Anyway, behind the glass are Chris Murdoch and Randy Miller. Actually, Chris is kind of halfway in front of the glass, sitting in the corner of the room right now, I guess. Something like that.
Chris is busy doing what Chris does.
Yeah. Chris is being a good Chris in the corner.
Yeah, doing video stuff and helping us stay on the air.
Yeah, something like that.
Among other things.
So, Tom.
Yes.
I'm getting ready to go to Martinsville, but I was surfing Twitter earlier today, and I saw all this stuff talking about IT and wondering, you know, our friends at My Computer Career are good with that. I want to know more about it, so do tell.
Here's the deal. MyComputerCareer.edu offers you the chance to be an IT professional in as little as 4 months. It's not that hard. If you're not that great at math or science, that's okay. They can still help you with that. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career.
Easy for you
now
to say.
Now I've caught your disease. It's My Computer Career. And here's the thing. They have 7 campuses across the country. So you can either study at one of the campuses or you can study online. 2 to 3 days a week is all it takes. It's not a full-time deal. You can be an IT professional as little as 4 months. There are over 2 million cybersecurity jobs alone that are right now unfilled in the U.S. So you want to make sure, if you're going to have any interest at all in a career change, check this out. They have a free career evaluation on their website, mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available if you qualify, including the GI Bill. And the best part of all is they work with hundreds of employers. So the chances of you finding a place to go and plow your new trade once you've mastered it is they're very good, actually. So mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. Go check them out.
And I'm going to rush you off to a break. We'll be back with more Motorsports Madness right after this.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Strutmasters.com is the proud sponsor of NHRA Top Fuel driver Clay Milliken. If you own a luxury car or SUV, eventually your high-tech suspension system is going to fail. And when it happens, call or click Strutmasters.com for an American-made suspension conversion system that solves the problem for a fraction of what you'd pay at the dealer. And the only thing faster than the service you'll get at Strutmasters.com is Clay Milliken stomping on that loud pedal.
I'm Kaz Gralla, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
It is now officially 10 days before Kaz Gralla gets to drive the number 21 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. I know that because he told me on Twitter earlier today.
10 days.
Welcome back to Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. And this segment, really quickly, sponsored by Strutmasters.com, proud sponsor of Clay Milliken, because, well, there was some drag racing news today. And I'm going to hit on this because it's still shocking to me.
Okay.
Angel Sampey is going to drive a full season with Vance and Hines Harley Davidson.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that like
that's like the Hatfields and the McCoys.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's really interesting. I know she ran
Gainesville, yeah.
Yes, ran the Gators, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's good for the sport.
It's still amazing.
It is.
Yeah, and by the way, we
sport.
should pay a nod, too, to the winners of the Gator Nationals, most specifically Richie Crampton in Top Fuel, who is now a back-to-back champion of the Gator Nationals for Kalitta Motorsports. That was that was pretty big. Robert Height winning in Funny Car was very impressive.
It sure was.
Bo Butner in Pro Stock, former champion, getting back on the Schneid. And we mentioned Vance and Hines Harley Davidson a minute ago because, well, Andrew Hines and Eddie Krawick made it an all-Harley final.
Again.
And Andrew Hines, for the first time since November of 2017 in the season finale, beat his teammate Eddie Krawick to win an NHRA national event.
Impressive.
It's about time. Andrew was saying on social media this week, you know, he's like, I almost forgot what having one of these trophies felt like.
That's exactly right.
He's closing in on 50 Pro Stock motorcycle wins, which is a threshold that nobody in the class has ever reached.
Yep.
So that if he gets there before Krawick does, there's going to be an immense amount of bragging rights. They're both, I think, like within one or I know Andrews got it 48 or 49, and Krawick, I think, is at 46 or 47. So they're both pretty close. It's the race to 50, as they've been calling it now. But
it is going to be a race.
Oh, it is. It always is
and
between those two. Yes, but NHRA is now off until Las Vegas the first week in April for the first four-wide nationals. So
not that far away.
Not that far away, just 2 weeks. But we'll see Clay Milliken back in action then. That's going to be fun. Right now, we're going to step aside to another break, and when we return, well, you never know what we're going to get into. Motorsports Madness back after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication, but it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Todd Gilland, and you're listening to Race Talk on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Todd's way too chill for that.
Yeah, way too chill.
He really is.
Way too chill.
Welcome back to Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. If you're looking for Todd Gilliland, you can find him at Martinsville Speedway this weekend because he's going to be in
a very
action.
fast truck.
Well, he hopes it's very fast.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
So, with all that said, we are going to the strutmasters.com hotline right now to talk with our guest for this portion of the program, and I think it's an exciting time. I know for a fact it's the first time we've had a Pikes Peak International Hill Climb champion on the show. Former Indy Car racer, current driver training guru, I suppose that would be appropriate. Robbie Unser joins us on the program. Robbie, first, it's a pleasure and a privilege to have you join us tonight, and we certainly welcome you to the program. Really cool for us, and I was telling these guys from the beginning, I think the first thing I'm most curious about is what makes the hill climb so much fun for you guys and something that y'all want to keep coming back, because I've never really understood the discipline. So for me, I want to know what makes you guys tick when you go and do that stuff.
Okay, well, thank you for having me on. It's nice to talk to everybody. Wow. Well, Pikes Peak, it's the second oldest race in America. So if you go back to, the times when my dad was younger and Uncle Al were racing and whatnot, there was a while where Pikes Peak was actually part of USAC championship. So, at a time you did it because it was part of a race for points and whatnot. At the end of the day, I say that it's pretty much the thing that made our family really good road course racers. So, I don't know if you guys remember what those cars used to be like with a brake outside, a hand brake that you pulled. The setup is you have a throttle, a clutch, steering wheel, a gear shifter between your legs, and a hand brake. So work that out when you're trying to road course. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So, So at the end of the day, what it did is it taught you did it one way. You either downshift and then brake, or you broke and then you downshifted. Obviously, you only had one hand. And at the end of the day, it made, I'd say all of us very good on road courses, because it was a discipline that you just had to be good at that. You were alone. There wasn't anyone else pushing you, so you really had to, drive a pace by yourself and be quick. You had to learn. You weren't going to see any turn twice. So you pretty much had to do it the best you could, and if it wasn't good, let it go. So there's a lot of things, actually, I think Pikes Peak had that I am glad that I was able to participate in it so long, as well as the car stuff. I mean, learning about the cars and cooling and how to make them work up there was a whole nother bucket of things you had to figure out on top of it. So I enjoyed it. It was a fun deal for me, and I'm glad I got to partake so much in my life.
You obviously enjoyed it. You won it 9 times.
Yeah, well, the first part, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, our family did it a bunch, so but I think I got pretty good at it, especially on the dirt. I'm not as fond of it now since it's fully paved, but it's still a great race. It still has all the challenges. It still has all of the risk thinking and car stuff that you always needed. So it's a fun place to be.
To have won it as many times as you've won it, and for the family to have run the hill climb as many times as the different Unsers have run it over the course of the race's now more than 100-year history, what are some of your favorite memories of the hill climb? Do any of the wins stick out, or was it even something else beyond that?
Really, I think it was just driving up the road. Honestly, when that place was dirt, there was nothing anywhere like driving up it. You can take the best dirt track with the best road course with the best of everything and put it there, and that was more fun. Risky. There was obviously, it's not a place you wanted to have many mistakes. But almost a dance. I think that when Peugeot made their climb dance video, they named it appropriate. It was like a dance. It was just really, really fun to drive that race. And not any one time, every time. Any car on the dirt, sliding up that road with a ton of horsepower, really, really was fun.
I hear so often racers talking about rhythm and getting into a rhythm, and I think oval track racing seems to be where that's most prevalent. But even on a road course, there's a certain. But is there that same type of thing with a hill climb?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there?
I think there is in any racing, honestly. And I wouldn't say it's more actually in ovals. I'd say it's quite equal.
Okay.
Pikes Peak was absolutely that. You got up, you had one shot, one day. That was it. So you and God were having a good day or you weren't. It didn't matter. You were going to have fun and go up there and enjoy it. So it was interesting like that, for sure.
When you talk about the rhythm of an oval track race and then maybe the rhythm it takes to be successful at the hill climb, for fans who may never have seen the hill climb or understand the discipline, what mentally, physically, what are some of the differences between a typical oval track race and what it takes to be successful at the hill climb?
Right. Well, I think the biggest thing is the time in the car. If you're having a good day, you're not in the hill climb car more than about 11 minutes, 10 minutes if you're good. Whereas, when you're racing an oval race or any of the other races, I'll use Indy as the other one. That's 3.5 hours often sitting in the car. People around you. You don't have that at Pikes Peak, although you might have a friendly deer or something decide to come up to you, which is not fun. But, so I think with Pikes Peak, honestly, now that you make me think about it a little bit, I guess I would put Pikes Peak similar to, say, the autocrossing that I'm doing with Speedway at some of these things with the muscle cars. It's you have to have your run in your head before you go. You're going to leave. You're going to get one shot. If you make a mistake, you really do have to leave that mistake in your head alone. You're not going to make it up. You're not going to have a bad stint of tires and be able to make that up because of a fuel stop or, a chassis change or anything like that. You've got what you got. And you pretty much have to be on your game in the first corner and not overstep yourself the rest of the way up. So it's similar more, I guess, to like the autocrossing and things like that just you go and you got to be quick now, and then it's over. And really the time is very short. The demand on the car is extremely high, but the time is short.
During some of your peak participation at the hill climb, when you won it overall 3 times in 4 years between 89 and 92, the times there, you referenced it a little bit ago, high 10 minutes to mid 11-minute times. Would you have ever expected something like what Romain Dumas did last year at the hill climb, where they hit sub 8 minutes for the first time ever?
Yeah, as soon as they paved it, we knew that was going to happen. I mean, they really have not broken the record of the open wheel that I ran that was set on 100% dirt really didn't get beat until it was 100% pavement.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, now it's beat, and it's a different record altogether. But yeah, as soon as when we saw the speeds just in the sections when they were starting to pave sections, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you realize somebody was then going to build a car that was purposely built for the road now on a paved situation, and then you look around and you see what some of the factories are doing, yeah, it wasn't really a surprise too much for me, honestly.
Well, we've got a lot more certainly to talk about. There's a myriad of things in Robbie Unser's career that we can get to, and we're going to try to get to as many of them as we can during this portion of the show. But we do have to step away for a couple minutes for a quick commercial break. So we're going to hold Robbie on the strutmasters.com hotline, and when we come back from break, Tom, I know we've talked a little bit about the hill climb. We'll get into some of his Indy Car memories and also talk about his driver training program that he's doing currently. Absolutely. So we'll step aside. Motorsports Madness, powered by My Computer Career with Robbie Unser, continues right after this.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, Indy Car, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Cody Connor, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
Tom's guitaring out.
Oh, yeah. It's blues, man. You gotta.
Well, Cody Connor's going to be rocking out next weekend when
yes, he is.
The Pro All-Star Series Super Late Models invade Richmond for the Commonwealth Classic.
May actually be at Hickory this weekend, I wonder, for the Cars Tour
He's
race.
on the entry list, so hopefully we will see Tiger Stripes in attendance.
Exactly.
Right now, though, we are on the strutmasters.com hotline with Robbie Unser here on Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. I'm Jacob Seelman. He's Tom Baker. Randy Miller and Chris Murdoch are behind the glass, and Robbie Unser is back with us on the phone. We talked about the Pikes Peak Hill Climb with Robbie during the last segment. Now, before we dig into driver training, I want to talk for just a minute and bring up the open wheel days, Robbie, because you spent a couple years and just about nearly 2 years in a row won yourself an Indy Car race between Texas and Atlanta. It seemed like it was just so close, but not quite there between the Cheever car in '98 and then the Pelfrey car the next year.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was never able to make the winner's podium or the winner's stand, but we had a couple good seconds, a few different places, and fair amount of top threes and a lot of top fives, so it was a good time. I enjoyed running. Obviously, Indy cars were a lot of fun. You know, when I was doing it, we were just getting safer walls, just getting attenuators, just starting to tether wheels and corners to the cars. So on one hand, I was really happy to be part of so many safety changes coming into our sport. On the other hand, a lot of my friends got hurt during it. And so it was an interesting time. And then just like everything else with racing, it's a race around the road, but it's also a race to get sponsors, and that's the thing that keeps us all moving. And that got hard, so I had to move on to other types of stuff. You did. Now, in fairness, the 2 years you ran the 500, I mean, you contended in both of those, finished 5th in '98 and then backed it up with an 8th in '99. So it seemed like, if nothing else, during your time in IndyCar, the Speedway was always really good to you. It was. I enjoyed it there. I love the people, the fans, the track. You know, I consider that place basically our church, if you want to put it that way. It was a lot of fun, and, you know, I've got a lot of history there. Our family has a lot of history there. So it really is worth going, and it is worth running. Thank God I had a very good run and was able to be in the top 10 both times, which I enjoyed. Had some decent cars, obviously. Actually, in '99, I think we had a better car, just had, again, one stint of tires that were just really bad, and that cost me a little bit. But great to run the 500. You know, it is such a historical race, and it is different, honestly, than any of the other races that you go to. You know, when we were running the 500, all the other races were basically, you know, ruled on the wings and, you know, angles and stuff. So Indy was the only place you really got to trim those cars out and see what they would do. To be quite honest, they would have just been too fast at places like Charlotte and Texas and Atlanta that we were going. So Indy, you got to trim them out. You had a different package, and they were really fast, and you really got to develop and use all of your tools in the toolbox, so to speak. So, yeah, it's great, and it still is great. It'll always be the Indy 500, and I do love it. Now, you also you won a drifting event in 2007. You won a Formula D. Yeah, I did that too. Yeah, I mean, I look at this, and it's like you're a 9-time Pikes Peak champion. You've run Indy cars and done very well there. You were the autocross, Good Guys Autocrosser of the Year in 2017. You won the Duel in the Desert. You won the drifting event back in 2007. You've done a lot of different types of motorsport, and you seem to be great at them all. What do you attribute that to? Well, I think that, you know, for example, Al Jr. kind of settled in our Indy cars. He's very good in everything that he ever drove as well, but he got lucky, got his IndyCar rides, got his sponsors, and went there and spent a long time in that type of car and that discipline, and obviously, you know, his record speaks for itself. For me, I didn't have that happen. Of course, in our family, you know, you're vying for everything, sponsors, the whole 9 yards. So being the last one in my generation, I think I had to do things in a different way. I also am a driver, or a person, I should say, in my family that I would say was more like my Uncle Louie, my father's older brother, Uncle Al's older brother. So there was 4 of them. There were twins, Jerry and Louie. Uncle Jerry passed away in a car wreck in Indianapolis, 58. Uncle Louie had MS. Dad and Uncle Al, obviously, you know what they did. I would say Dad and Uncle Al are more driver guys, like little Al was. He liked to drive a lot. That was his forte. I took on what I would say my Uncle Louie's hat a little more. He was an engine builder. He was what I call the West Coast Smoky Eunuch. He was just magic at making horsepower and basically the cars. If you look up, he was a crew chief for Uncle Jerry, I think, and Uncle Al when they went to Indy. He used to work for the Strops back in the 50s for the stock cars, and he was a really good mechanic. So I'm very into the building of my cars, setting them up, working on them. You know, in my family, by the time I came up, you kind of had to drive. But really, had there been a door open that I didn't need to drive that much, I probably would have taken it.
Interesting.
For me, honestly, designing the cars, building the cars, working on the cars, and seeing them, seeing what we can do with that really is the most fun, which is why I think I've done so many different kind of motorsports, because I really do like cars. I'm definitely the car nut in our family, for sure.
And you've gone forward from all of that to now be part of driver training and driver coaching with Racecraft One. So talk a little about that and your involvement and what Racecraft One does.
Okay, so I always enjoyed coaching and working with guys and kids and teaching basically our sport. I think that it's my philosophy that we have a beautiful sport. I think it's a pretty clean sport. I see a lot of family involvement with our sport.
Sure.
So
yeah.
For me, it's a craft, so to speak. I've always felt that. I think that while it's not a cheap thing to do with the family, it is a wholesome and healthy thing to do with the family, and I often see a lot of family support around it, for lack of a better thing to say. So, honestly, the thing with Racecraft, it's really weird. So, my niece Lonnie, so my older cousin Johnny's daughter, she's going to be, I think, just turning 20 now. In fact, she's down racing at COTA this weekend in her first MX5 Cup race.
Oh, wow.
We got her into racing 2 years ago, and she was a skier. They live in Sun Valley, so she was, headed towards the Olympic skiing direction for quite a bit. Ended up missing that, I believe, by just 1 level. She was in the next group.
Oh, wow.
And, she was quite good. So wanted to get into racing. Every time we went to go-kart tracks or stuff like that, Lonnie's always been really pretty quick. So 2 years ago, it was finally time to decide, since her Olympic stuff, wasn't going to continue. And we got her into racing. So went Miata racing, obviously, to start with. She was, I believe, 17 at that time. And it was very prevalent that what was needed then for her training was a simulator. Now, mind you, there has been a big gap for me and for Johnny. I mean, I'm 50 now, 51. So I didn't know about a simulator as far as a training tool. I was lucky enough to be in a few military simulators, like an Osprey and some tanks and some different things like that. And that was impressive, but by the same token, these simulators are the size of a small building, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
4 stories inside, and the military stuff's quite amazing. So all of a sudden, it's like you have to have a simulator, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so Johnny did his research, and I think wisely ran across Rick Motec Simulators and his company. They're out of Texas. Frank runs that company and does an unbelievable job at putting together a very economical simulator. And these things can go, guys, from, I mean, my God, there's guys that have, I don't know, maybe $100,000 in a simulator.
Sure.
Down to, you can probably do it for $5,000 if you're somewhat creative and know what you're doing. Nevertheless, now the tools are there for this medium. So we got Lonnie a simulator. Obviously, Johnny and I now played on them, and it's like, wow, this really works. That moved forward into me meeting a gentleman, Kelly Jones, in Indy. Kelly is actually a retired major from the Air Force and spent, 20 years with the military training him how to train people on simulators. And he by far is the best that I've run into for this market. It is, obviously it's a different tool. You have to look at things a little bit different when you train on them. And, there's a difference in it's either a really expensive video game or it's, a simulator that you get a benefit and you actually learn some out of. And sometimes it's both. So I got to working with Kelly, pretty much with Lonnie, and then I was working with some other guys to do coaching, and so started going, well, I guess you need to have some sim time, so sending them to Indy to work with Kelly, and amazed at how much I'm seeing, these drivers, they have a problem, whatever it might be. They go work on it with a simulator, and lo and behold, they get better.
Robbie, we're gonna hold you right there. Just hold your place in the story. We need to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Motorsports Madness right after this.
Thank you.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2050, 27-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Zane Smith, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Zane Smith is gearing up for another start with Junior Motorsports coming up, I think at Bristol, if I remember seeing social
I think it
media,
is next
right?
start. Yep,
so
with the 8.
We will look forward to that. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. Jacob Seelman, Tom Baker, Randy Miller, and Chris Murdoch are wandering behind the glass, pushing buttons and keeping us doing what we're doing. And now the rest of the story from our guest on the Strutmasters.com hotline, Robbie Unser, who was just talking about Major Kelly Jones and the story behind Racecraft 1. And we'll let you pick it back up, Robbie, because I was just sitting here listening, and I did some research on the Racecraft website before the show, not even realizing that even beyond what's on the website, just how much to this story there was.
Yeah, there really is, and I get a little bit long-winded on it too, so feel free to just chop me off. Kelly was amazing, and getting with him, and again, now that I'm seeing how much it's helping these kids, right, and even Lonnie. Now, mind you, I'm not training Lonnie. We went and found an online coach, Wyatt from Texas, who's an excellent coach, for her, and I'm just observing this. And then as I started needing to work with a couple guys and put them in with Kelly, then that worked. And then, so this is where the story gets a little bit even weirder. So it's early May. I'm actually in Gunnison, Colorado fishing with my wife, kind of taking a week off. And this gentleman, Charles Finelli, who runs in the Pro Mazda group, needs some work. I'm not going to be able to get to Indy to coach him at IRP directly. So through my cousin Johnny, he says, all right, well, Kelly, send him over to Kelly's. And through phone calls and online stuff, and I honestly don't even know how it all went together now, but somehow Kelly was able to hook me up in Gunnison, Colorado on my laptop with iRacing stuff so that I could actually watch and coach from there Charles Finelli, who came into the place in Indy, and was sitting on a simulator there. Kelly then basically took my place instead at the racetrack, and we were on the phone through the whole thing and coached Mr. Finelli for his race. He did much better. I was then able to go to Mr. Finelli's race in St. Louis for his last oval, and what an improvement that little mechanism made in this man's driving. So that made me start thinking, well, heck, I don't necessarily need to be in Indy at Racecraft One's place to do this job. So here we are, a little more than 6 months later. I've got almost a full sim in my house, and I'm teaching, oval academies to several kids 3 or 4 times a week. So it's turned out to be great. We've really changed our platform as how we're doing this. I mainly am dealing with the oval side of things. I've got myself and Chase Austin, who's a great little instructor, work with all the kids on that. We have some guys that specialize in road course stuff, and we all obviously jump back and forth. But super impressed the way Kelly does it. We offer training on all levels. If you have a sim at home, you literally can call us up, go online, select what type of work you want to do, pay for it online, and then we'll hook us up with a driver. Now that I've done this, we actually have other coaches now that can work from their home, which makes it a lot easier if they have a good simulator and good internet stuff. So it's really been amazing. We're working a lot with the Race Face Kids and Rod Wortham. I believe that's who set me up to be on this interview.
Yep,
and it's really amazing what I'm seeing these kids learn. Basically we're able to do a winter training, right? We're able to get after training without burning fuel, tires, having the whole team there. We do bring the whole team involved as we go through the academy. At the end of it, we get their spotters involved and the crew chiefs involved, because I believe that the language that's going on between the driver and the team is one of the key things to success in this business.
For sure.
So we work very hard on that, as well as driving techniques, what you do, safety, and all that. So we take kids from all levels. We're working right now mainly with, I'd say the first 5 levels of your racing career, up until you start getting, let's say, to the Busch stuff in NASCAR and, some of the Road to Indy Car guys. Once I've noticed a lot of the drivers, if they're successful and they start making the money, they end up with their own nice simulators. Often they end up with their own coaches and stuff, which is great. They continue. When I raced, I didn't have a driving coach.
Right.
I had Dad yelled at me a lot, whatever, but there was really no driver coaching, whereas most of the IndyCar guys nowadays, I'm blown away to find out they have driver coaches and that work with them, and I think it's smart. We didn't think that way, but keeps them on it. It keeps them focused. Obviously,
sure.
The physical training that these guys are going through, so much more than what I went through. We were still, racing isn't something where you get into it, you think about the 50s. The guys in the 50s, they definitely knew they were risking it getting into the car, right? 60s, ooh, that was some rough years through the 60s. Some guys really didn't make it through that decade. We even were still doing it in the 70s. But as you get now into what we're at, yes, it can happen. It's still dangerous, but it's much safer than it ever was.
Yes.
You know, I think we can
Absolutely.
all agree to that, both, you know, from the track standpoint, what the track owners have done for our safety, amazing. What the cars are going through, amazing. So, you know, we were still in that era where you didn't worry about being in shape so much.
Sure.
You just worried about getting good enough to get in there and get her done.
It was more about skill than physique at that point. Now it's kind of a lot more of both.
Yes. And, you know, I would say that in my generation, you know, guys like Jeff Gordon and I wouldn't say Tony was that way. He's a little more like me. But there was a lot of guys, Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, who actually took that physical aspect of our sport to new heights. And once they did it, then it, you know, obviously spread pretty quickly. Interesting to find out, I did not know this. I'm kind of a racing history nut myself. Juan Manuel Fangio, was probably the first ever driver to hire private trainers and go into a physical regiment to try to recover from an injury. He only actually had one F1 wreck, but that did break his neck, and he was so old that he went into, and it's the first guy that I know of that really went into physical training to better his sport and his driving ability. So, you know, now it's everything. Diet, exercise, you know, the mental aspects. You know, Travis Pastrana has just done amazing things at teaching us some of the focus things and some of the work he's done with some of the doctors and stuff to figure out things. So there's so many more avenues and things that are available to drivers nowadays and teams to help them be better.
Talk about Tony being in shape, Jacob. Tony had the same trainer I did for a while. We ended up in the shape of a meatball, so I don't know quite how that worked. I think it's
but
that.
I'll tell you what,
that
guy can drive like nobody's business.
Yeah,
so.
he sure.
He
sure
can. Absolutely.
We love Tony.
He's one of my best buds. I dig him a lot. He's really a good guy.
Absolutely.
I'm just curious, Robbie, as our time in this last segment here with you starts to wind down a little bit, when you look at the family history that the whole, you know, not just your career, but the whole family name and all the Unser's careers in motorsports, you know, what do you feel like the family legacy is now in the racing world as you guys have all started to look back on it?
Well, unfortunately, there's not as many young Unsers coming through. And, you know, Dad and Uncle Al were a breed of their own.
Sure were.
I'll put it that way. Very focused on what they did, but I don't know that in their time they were as driven to see it continue. Little Al and Uncle Al definitely helped Little Al with that, but you know, I have an older brother that wasn't the case for myself. You know, my sister. There's a lot more Unsers out there that you guys don't know about that are very smart, good, intelligent people that are successful on other things.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I do love my family. We've got a lot of great people in it. The racing part of it didn't continue, I don't think, like it should have. And, you know, I got to put that on the older guys. It was really harsh. I don't know that all of the kids went and looked at it and said, oh, that looks fun, like it is now. So, unfortunately, for my family, we don't have as many people doing it as I would like to see. But I do have, you know, my niece Lonnie, Al Jr.'s son Jason, or not son, Al Jr.'s sister's son, Jason Tanner, still races sprint cars and is an extremely good wheel. So we've got a few of them that are doing it, not as many as I'd like to. But at the end of the day, I think that it's, you know, it was a business, it's a way of life. Obviously, as my life, you know, winds down, I'm going to keep doing it. It's all I knew, and I enjoy teaching about it. But I think you're going to see the future of the Unser family probably be in a different way. They just didn't gravitate to motorsports in these last generations like the first did.
Well, I certainly can say I've learned a great deal just from the last 35, 40 minutes of this conversation. So, Robbie, we want to thank you again for taking the time to join us this evening. I've certainly learned a lot and enjoyed it, and we'd look forward to having you back on a future show as well.
Well, I'm very open to it, and you just give me a call anytime. I'm more than happy to spend some time chatting. You guys will end up having to kick me off sooner or later anyway.
We really appreciate it, Robbie. Thanks again.
All righty. You guys have a good day. Thank you very much.
All right. That's Robbie Unser. And, it's amazing to have someone on the show with us once in a while who can take us to different places.
Absolutely.
And certainly the Pikes Peak and the autocrossing and drifting. It's impossible to cover all of the different forms of motorsport.
We would need a 3-hour show.
Yeah, well, you need a 3-day show, really. But so it's a lot of fun. And Racecraft 1 is a really unique concept that's come across where you literally can be on your iRacing simulator and have Robbie or another coach actually acquiring data, doing data acquisition, and coaching you in your particular discipline. So, it's worked wonders with some of the race-face brand development drivers already.
Absolutely.
And, so that was a really enjoyable interview.
So to offer a plug for Racecraft 1, if you want to learn more about Racecraft 1, get information or contact them directly, it's racecraft and the number 1.com. For more information, and Robbie certainly involved in the training side of that. Again, we want to thank Rod Wortham from Raceface Brand Development for helping to set this up. My gosh, the second half of this show just absolutely flew by. And when you have a conversationalist like what Robbie is, and who has the stories and the memories to be able to share, that's what just makes it fun. So very enjoyable. And like I said, we'll look forward to hopefully being able to bring him back for another show and delve into more of it later on. Right now, though, we're going to step aside for one final time. And when we come back, we will wrap up this edition of Motorsports Madness, powered by mycomputercareer.edu. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas and get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Hi, I'm Tyler Dipple, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Am I that guy that I would throw Dippling it in and we don't even have time to enjoy it fully?
Yeah, well, hey, Dippling's good even if you only do it for a short time.
True, and Tyler Dipple, by the way, is hopefully going to be dippling his way to the front in the Truck Series race on Saturday.
Young's Motorsports.
Yes, I'll throw out there, by the way, before we go away, that that race on Saturday has a new sponsor. It is now the True North Global 250 on Saturday afternoon. And by the way, both races this weekend on Fox Sports 1, as opposed to the Cup race being on Big Fox like it has been the first 5 weeks.
That always
of the
seems
season.
strange to me. You take one of your best races that's the most competition, the most exciting, and the most appealing to TV in Martinsville, and you put it on Fox Sports 1. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
What you thinking, Fox?
Well, I don't know. What I'm thinking is we have to go away because we don't have a third hour.
That's too bad. We were just getting started.
We really were.
2 hours ago.
Yeah, 2 hours ago. But we want to thank our friends at My Computer Career Training for a Better Life, as well as HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, and strutmasters.com for everything that they do to make our shows possible here on Race Chaser Radio.
Yes.
And Tom and I survived another one. Woo!
Yeah, you were having trouble earlier.
I was having trouble, but we got the wheels on it.
You got sideways, but you got away with it.
He was down a cylinder.
I was, something like that. So for Randy Miller and Chris Murdoch behind the glass, as well as Tom Baker seated here at the table next to me, I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall, folks. And if you're headed to a racetrack somewhere, we might just see you there. Have a safe racing weekend until we meet again.
You've been listening to Motorsports Madness with the Race Chaser Online crew. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. Motorsports Madness is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network, www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section in the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the madness returns on Monday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, keep it off the wall and keep the shiny side up.